Most hard gainers don't have a training problem, but instead they have an eating problem. They try to eat more, they end up feeling sick, and then they give up halfway through the day trying to hit their allotted calories because they're just sick of trying to shove food down their throat. If that is you, this video is going to help fix that problem. You always hear people say, just eat more, but nobody actually tells you how to eat more without feeling like you are shoveling food down your face. So we're going to discuss in this video how to increase your calories efficiently. This way you can get quicker results in the long run. My first tip to you is liquid calories. The easiest way to eat more is to stop trying to eat everything. Liquid calories are a game changer for the hard gainer because it doesn't fill you up as quickly, and you can have more calories in that sitting without feeling that bloated, nauseous, and sick feeling that you get from eating large meals. It's easier on your body to digest, and it's just really easy to consume. Shakes were actually something that I used and have continued to use since I started trying to put on weight, and they've helped immensely. And I'm actually going to share my favorite shake recipe with you here. I use spinach, getting you a little extra greens. I do a full cup of oats, and when you're doing a full cup of oats, that alone is 300 calories. I take the biggest bananas I can find at the store, and I always use those. Frozen strawberries, banana and strawberry is one of my favorite flavors to mix. I'll also use low-fat milk, or I will use almond milk because it's a little easier on the stomach, especially when I am eating a lot during the day. I don't want too many calories coming from dairy because it just tends to mess with my stomach. Then I'll do a scoop of protein. Honestly, whatever protein is your favorite will work. And then always peanut butter, because peanut butter has a ton of calories. And the reason that I choose low-fat milk or almond milk is also because you get a ton of that fat from the peanut butter. If you do a solid 50 grams, it's about 300 calories right there. This shake alone is around 1,100 to 1,200 calories, depending on the size of the banana and honestly how much peanut butter actually falls off the spoon that you can measure. You started off on a really high note with a ton of calories. Again, 1,200 calories. If you're having that for breakfast and you have that before 9 a.m., that's a head start on calories that you typically wouldn't get. And if you did get it, you're going to feel a lot less full because it's coming to you in liquid form. If you are struggling to eat more, just drink your calories. That helps. Still eat food, but drinking calories helps. Now, the next tip we're going to go through is meal size. For me, I personally do okay digesting pretty big meals, especially because my schedule doesn't allow for me to eat constantly throughout the day. However, more smaller meals throughout the day will give you less of that bloated and nauseous feeling, and it'll allow you to get those calories in smaller increments instead of having 2 to 3 large meals. You could just break it up throughout the day. An example of an easy meal breakdown for you: if you have that breakfast shake in the morning, I always say if you can get that 1,000 calories before 9 a.m., it helps. Then you could have a mid-morning smaller breakfast, maybe some eggs and toast. After that, you could have your lunch / post-workout meal, and then dinner. I tend to try and add a little more carbs because it's a good way to get me to feel a little sleepy before bedtime. So again, shake, mid-morning breakfast snack, then you could have lunch, post-workout meal, as well as a dinner to finish off. So that's 5 separate times that you could eat through the day rather than just 2 or 3 and loading in those calories all at once. When people are trying to lose weight, coaches often tell them, don't just snack throughout the day because those snacks will end up adding up. You might be one of those people that snacks throughout the day will help because you can get more calories without feeling as full. The next tip we're going to go through is calorie-dense foods and calorie-dense food swaps. And honestly, this is where people mess up the most when they're trying to bulk, is they go for these foods that are very healthy, but they're filling. And when they're very filling, you can't eat as much, and it's just really hard to pack in the calories. So I have a couple examples for food swaps that you could do that will make it a little bit easier. One, everyone goes for the chicken breast or ground chicken. It's a great source of protein, but honestly, it doesn't have a ton of calories compared to ground beef. So if you have 90-10, 93-7, or even 96-4 ground beef, you're going to get more calories per ounce than you would if you were to just have chicken. So swapping out the chicken for beef might be a good option for you. Another one that you could swap out is most people, when they think of healthy foods for breakfast, they think of egg whites and they take the yolk out. The yolk has some pretty healthy fats in there and it has a good amount of calories. Instead of having just egg whites, do whole eggs, and that will add more calories in. And then of course there's the whole peanut butter thing. If you're not allergic to peanuts, peanut butter is a really easy way to pack in calories. It is higher in fat, but if you're making sure that you're sticking to your macros, it shouldn't be a problem. But peanut butter is great. You could throw it in your shake, you could throw it on your toast, you could have it with a banana, you could throw it in your yogurt. It's a really easy way to just get more and more calories throughout the day. And the good thing is peanut butter does have a good amount of protein. It does have a lot of fat, like I said, but you kind of need it. It's actually kind of crazy that you could basically double your calories throughout the day by going toward more calorie dense foods rather than just gravitating toward what people say is healthy and what you should eat when you're trying to gain muscle. Not everyone is the same. For you hard gainers, every calorie counts, so you may as well make these food swaps to make your life a lot easier. And it'll be easier on your stomach too. A couple mistakes that people make while trying to gain weight are skipping meals Even one meal, if you're just like, I don't really need to count this one today. Yes, you do. Because one meal, if it's going from 800 calories down to 500, that's 300 calories taken away from that day. You do that every single day throughout the week, you're looking at 2,100 calories missed that could have been in your diet, and that's a big mistake. Another mistake that people make is relying on appetite. If you're trying to gain weight, chances are by the time you get your third or fourth and fifth meal of the day, you're not really going to be that hungry to eat it. If you are waiting for yourself to feel hungry to eat, not going to work. Not going to cut it on this bulk. You need to make sure that you're hitting your designated calories. Sometimes you'll feel like the food is no longer in your stomach and it's climbing up into your chest. At the end of the day, some days I feel like the food is in my throat. Still got to put down those calories if you want to put on weight. It's just the way it is. Another mistake that people make, again, we covered this a little bit, but eating too quote unquote clean. I don't like to say that too much because I think you should still eat a fairly clean diet when you're bulking. However, if you're just trying to get chicken, egg whites, you're having a lot of sweet potatoes, foods that aren't very calorie dense but nutrient dense, it's good for you, but it's hard to continue to get more calories throughout the day. And the biggest mistake of all, not planning meals. If you're just grabbing whatever you want from the shelf and you're tracking everything and hoping that you get to your calorie goal, you may gain the weight, yes, but it's not going to be as lean and efficient of a bulk as you might hope. You may have to shred away a little more fat when you're on your quote unquote cut or when you're trying to lean out. After you've hit your goal weight, then you realize that you ended up gaining a little more fat than you wanted and it could have been muscle. That was the weight that you wish you had. So planning your meals not only let you know that you're going to hit your calorie goal for macros, but it's also going to let you know that you're eating the right foods at the right time. Gaining weight as a hard gainer can be very difficult and it can be very uncomfortable at first. Trying to hit your calorie goal when you're not used to eating that much, it sucks. You're asking your body to take in more calories than it's used to and more calories than it truthfully wants to, because let's be honest, you're eating a lot. But once you've built this habit and you've been consistent, your appetite will increase and it will become easier to take in these calories. So as a recap, just to make this process a little bit easier on you, some ways to really make this work in your favor is drink some calories, not just eat them, and eat more often. Instead of having these giant meals where you feel super uncomfortable after eating it, just break them up a little bit. If you have the time to do it, I would recommend it because it's much easier to put down those smaller meals than it is to just eat those giant meals all at once. And then the last thing, calorie dense foods for the win. If you can make those swaps, that chicken breast example that I used, 6 ounces of chicken breast is about 121 calories, where 6 ounces of 93.7 beef is 285. That makes up a huge difference. If you finish your last meal for the day and you have to get another 400 calories in, that 400 calories feels like a lot more than just a snack, especially when you're at the top end of your calories toward the end of the day. I have a ton more videos like this that are already planned out and just need to be recorded. If you are a hard gainer and you're struggling to grow, drop a comment down below on what you struggle with most, and I'll make sure that if it's not in my plan, I do cover it for you. And if you are a hard gainer that is struggling to grow, make sure you like this video and subscribe. Follow along with the series of the Hard Gainer's Guide to Growth, where I'll be covering everything you need to know to make sure that you get rid of that hard gainer title. And while you wait for the release of the next video, try to implement these changes into your daily routine now because it's going to make a big difference. And if you start to get the hang of these, then the next steps that I give you are going to be much easier to add on because you're not adding all these changes all at once. You're making small incremental changes that'll help you along the way. But again, if you did like this video, please drop a like, subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.